All right, go ahead.
Public Works Advisory Board. Roll call.
Vice Chair Herman,
Here.
Board Member Ruppel,
Here.
Board Member Zero.
Here.
Mr. Vice Chair, we have a quorum.
To approve minutes, any questions or comments about the minutes from last meeting? I move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any visitor communication?
We do not have any visitor communication.
Jackson, could you pull up an aerial, please?
Will do.
We are just getting ready to enter road construction season. We got winter and road construction, so. Two seasons out of the year, absolutely. And so, as we've done in the past couple of years, we brought to you our recommended pavement maintenance plan for this year. We look at the entire fiscal year to get these projects done, so some of this work will happen this summer after it gets approved by council. Typically, we get the chip seal done in the summer. We get our fall crack seal done, and then we move into getting our pavement overlay project and our slurry seal projects ready for bidding, get them out to bid and construct those in the spring. So council approved the overlay for 24-25, approved that contract. We have a signed contract with Knife River, and we are just working on scheduling a pre-con with them, and then they will get that work done before July 1st this year. So with that said, we'll start through the recommended payment list here. So we got an area of town here, City Hall's right here. So we got Maple Street, we got Tamarack Street right here. We got Green Ridge, and then we got Blackview right here. So we call this the Edge of the Pines. We have been in here, this pavement in here was everything but Green Ridge got replaced in the sewer project, so that would have been in 2002. So that pavement in there is about 23 years old. Again, we look at overlaying about every 21 years. We did 2 different chip seal projects to this and multiple crack seal projects to get us at 23 years. And so we're looking at overlaying these streets. This will be next spring. We do have a water line project to replace water lines. We have a water line in this alley here and a water line in this alley here that will not be affected. They're not part of the overlay project. But we have a water line here in Tamarack that we'll look at with our engineers to see if we can do any water line work before we have this overlay, obviously. So this will again happen in 2026, spring of 2026, and that is our recommendation for next year's overlay project. The following year, we will go over into this neighborhood here, which we really back together multiple times, and we'll catch this for overlays in 2027.
So just a question, overlay is pretty much an overhaul of the whole thing as opposed to repair.
So an overhaul is a reconstruct. That's where you rip up all the asphalt and the base rock and you put new base rock. Very expensive, the most expensive road treatment, which we try not to do. Keep on top of your asphalt maintenance. You don't have to do that. So the next most aggressive tool we use is an overlay where we'll go in and we'll actually add an additional lift of 1.5 to 2 inches onto the existing asphalt.
Does that include where you see where it's that ground down? Like you grind it down a little bit and then add on top of it?
We don't do a lot of mill and fills unless it's really in curved areas or we're trying to reprofile a road. Like we did a mill and fill on both Main and Hood when we overlaid those. Where you actually go in and you remove the 2 inches and put 2 inches back. This is really just we taper grind into driveways and intersections where we're hot butt joints meeting existing pavement. Otherwise, we just stack pavement on top of pavement. You drive those roads to that neighborhood, you got some little bit of transverse cracking, you got really old pavement on Green Ridge. A lot of crack seal has gone on that road. You got really deep, wide transverse cracking on Tamarack, almost like a speed bump type gaps in the pavements that need to be filled in. We've crack sealed multiple times. We've used mastic, which is a crack seal with an aggregate in it. It holds up better than crack seal, but again, you just, with the freeze and thaw, those keep reappearing. So you put an overlay, you're gonna get more material in there, plus material on top. You know, after 3 or 4 years, those transverse cracks will reflect through the new asphalt and you will get a crack, but everything will be smooth. So we don't necessarily worry about the transverse cracking because we can always crack seal. But this is where you start getting different heights of pavement surfaces and it just becomes rough on cars, snow plows, and other vehicles and stuff. So the slurry seal projects for this year, we're going to be down in the Saddlestone neighborhood here. This neighborhood was originally built in 2006, 2007. They put down 1.5 inches of asphalt over all of these streets here, a section here. And then in 2010, Polish had, the original developer, had given it back to the Bank of the Cascades through the 2008 recession, then sold it to a private developer out of the valley. He went in and added another 1.5 inches of asphalt in 2010. Since then, we really haven't done anything to that. We've had really good road structure. We had basically had two overlays in that first 10 years, 5 years. And so this will be the first actual surface treatment. We're going to crack seal it this spring, and then slurry seal Horseback Trail, Black Butte from here all the way down here, the section of rope here, little section of D right, and then Cowboy from here up to Ranch up in here. So that's the bulk of the slurry seal. And we'll use a type 2 slurry on that since it's a residential neighborhood. Type 3 is just a larger aggregate size, and it's more meant for, you know, your collectors, your larger capacity streets, the residential local streets. You get away with the type 2 just fine. So not a chip seal, a little bit friendlier to the neighborhood, looks a little bit better, friendlier to the bike and ped and skateboard traffic. So we like to use those where we can in neighborhoods where the roads still have to be in pretty darn good condition to be able to have it be effective. And then chip seal. Jackson, if you could shoot over to Barkley. So we're gonna chip seal outside of phase one, which is gonna end right about here. This is all gonna get built in here with the phase one project. We'll chip seal this all the way up to the roundabout. And then we're gonna jump over, and if you want to pan west, we have a section of McKinney View from here to Brooks Camp that's getting overlaid this spring as part of the 24-25 project. And then we'll be taken from there all the way out to 242. We'll be chip sealing the rest of that McKinney View as part of this. And with that, we're going to catch Brooks Camp from 242 to Westville right here. And then Trinity is still in great shape from the last chip seal that we did out there. Doesn't get a lot of traffic. It's holding up well. So it'll basically take care of those collector neighborhood route streets on that side of town. And then crack seal is probably the most effective tool that we have in our toolbox that we take advantage of. We have our own crack seal machine that was given to us from Deschutes County 1991 Bearcat. We basically rebuilt the entire thing over the years. Works great. We buy our crack seal material from Deschutes County, who gets really do a large crack seal procurement. Basically semi trucks of crack seal, and they allow us to buy off of their procurement. So we get a pretty good price on crack seal going through that. And then our crew does all the crack seal that you see around town. So this year, including this spring, and then next fall, we got downtown side streets up Cascades. So all of these tree streets from Locust over to Pine. We're going to go out into Village of Cold Springs. This is fairly new asphalt out here. It's not been crack sealed. Majority of this went in kind of the late teens, early 20s. So probably about 2015 is when these roads were built. So these are private streets right here. This is the original faces of Village Cold Springs went in, starting back in 2006, probably 2006 to 2010. And then this is the public, where they decided to go with public streets. So we'll be crack sealing Williamson up to here, Smith Court, Trinity, including the roundabout, and then all the way out to the views. And then we got Roundhouse Court, and then Hill Avenue. And then a little section of Brooks Camp right here. And then we're also going to catch Railway while we're out there. And then we have crack seal. Typically before we do a chip seal or a slurry seal, we'll go in and crack seal the streets before we do that. Control the cracks are tightened up, so we crack seal everything that we're slurry sealing next year, which is the Saddlestone development, Black Butte, Horseback Trail, Cowboy Road, D-Ray. So total pavement maintenance plan for 25-26 is about 350,000. Last year we were about 300. So about $50,000 more. I escalated the unit prices, everything, about 5%, which makes up for some of that, and we just had additional square yardage above and beyond last year. So that number changes with their pavement maintenance plan, how these roads are doing. It could change, you know, if we have a bad winter on an intersection or a section of road that decides to blow up on us for whatever reason, freeze thaw typically, you can see that cost go up. But typically we try to keep it right around that $300,000. All this is funded through the street fund, so we have franchise fees going into the street fund from CEC, all of our franchise utilities. TDS, Lumen, LSN, and even Republic Services, the garbage, they have franchise fee to be on our streets. All that revenue goes into our street fund to pay for this, as well as we get about $200,000 every year off of our local gas tax, increasing gas tax. The fund is healthy. Our road condition, PCI score, we're maintaining what we had last year with the improvements that we did last year. Then we should be going up. We're at an 82.18 actually. We added a few streets, new streets from the Sunset Meadows subdivision, as well as additional footage over in the Woodlands. And then readjusted some of our scores on our streets, typically anything over 5 years old on either new construction or overlay, depending on how they're holding up. I'll drop those from a 10 to a 9. And then we drive down and take a look at how our roads are doing, and scores go down as pavement age goes up, and scores go up as you invest dollars into the pavement. So they're going both directions. At the end of the day, after changing a lot of numbers, our PCI came out exactly what it was last year, 82.18. I have no idea how that happened. It spat it out, and I'm like, it is what it is. So, very respectable PCI number. When we really started getting aggressive with our street maintenance, about 10 years ago, we were in the low 70s. So we incrementally, we got 26 miles of road that we have to maintain. A lot of lane miles out there for a small town. And we're in one of the worst pavements environments possible. Just, we get moisture, we get that freeze thaw, we get really hot. Infrared, ultraviolet on our roads that's cooking the oil out of the top of the asphalt. Studded tires, all those things do not line up well for kind of a flexible material that we drive on. So it's a continued investment. We can't get away from it. And if we don't invest in it, we will pay the price. So we can't go there.
We don't want it to be too high anyway, right? That probably means you're over investing.
You want to get your life cycle out of your asphalt. You want to get that 20 years out of your overlays. And we typically do 3 overlays for a road life cycle. So you try to get that 75 years out of a road before you have to completely rebuild it. That's the whole idea. Maintenance. You don't want to have to reconstruct the roads. I wish ODOT felt the same way. I don't understand how they do and what they do. But it's crazy. They had beautiful asphalt in downtown that got put in 2013, 12 years ago, and it's falling apart. They haven't done a darn thing to it. Not even a crack seal.
Are we allowed to if we wanted to?
It's not our road. I've offered, stay off of it. So, yeah. I went to him this year and I was like, let's partner. We'll take the parking bays, because it really is, that section of road is really for the businesses and tourists. Let you guys do the traveling, and all I can get out of them, and I'm hoping, is those guys to restripe through downtown this year. But you can drive and you see it alligatoring, you see the cracking. When you're getting longitudinal cracking going with the traveling, that is not good. You're getting pavement failure at that point. So the whole thing needs to be built and filled.
Is there something you can say there about the 242 traded road? Who's in charge of the team?
No, because it's going to be Highway 20. That's not going to change. Yeah, 242 got redone through a flat grant that didn't come out of their maintenance budget, that came from federal grant program. That's why it's new pavement. And honestly, they have no plans of going in and doing anything to that road for several years. So it's not even on the radar. The way they look at pavement maintenance is they prioritize their 65-mile-an-hour roads, then they're 55-mile-an-hour roads, and they're 45, and they're 35. 20-mile-an-hour road is the lowest on the list. So they're the last potholes to get filled. Hard to believe there's 9 inches of asphalt out there, 3 3-inch layers. And it gets that much traffic volume over it that it just disintegrates it. So,
Some of that traffic is really heavy.
yeah, truck traffic, I mean, it's ruddy, you can tell it's ruddy. Yeah. We had an opportunity to get that in concrete when we rebuilt Cascade. Just didn't happen. Just too bad. That's my pavement maintenance 101, I guess.
Were these ratings from this year?
These are current ratings, yeah.
So the alternate, when Barclay becomes the alternate route, that should help quite a bit, or you think,
With the downtown,
yeah,
yeah, it should, especially if we're trying to get the truck traffic around.
yeah, if we can get them to use it.
Yeah. Because it's not as bad when trucks are just driving. It's that starting and stopping where you have all that weight. And basically it's just shoving your asphalt. And that's where it does damage. So they'll do a lot less damage to Barclay than they will downtown, for sure. We got control over our streets, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what will happen with Barclay over the long term. If it will become an actual recognized and designated truck route owned by ODOT, I don't know.
Just for context, like, Big Ben had an 82 like
Oh, it's gotten better.
I don't think it's gotten out of the 70s yet.
Yeah, they've invested a lot in the last
Yes.
probably 10 years. Yeah, their PCI was horrible for a long time. They had all that new development. In most of their streets, they had a cross section of, they would do 1.5 inches and then 1.5 inches. And that top 1.5 inches was just not thick enough. And had so many vehicle trips that it was just delamming. So, I mean, potholes and, yeah.
The
This-
first session hit funding, so that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Several
say,
years of nothing's happening.
does Ben fund similar, through a similar,
So Bend does not have a local gas tax that failed for the voters. 7 years ago. They did institute a transportation fee last year. With the specific intent to increase pavement maintenance and bike ped infrastructure. So that is going to go a long way in actually funding the long-term obligations for street maintenance.
And how's the transportation fee collected?
It's on the utility bill. And then I don't know the details of where the city of Bend's franchise fees go, if they go to the street fund or the general fund. I'm not on that detail. But it is like, that is one of the hardest problem to solve of over 10 years with that city.
Yeah, departments like to fight over franchise fees. My argument has always been those franchisees are using our streets their infrastructure is in our streets. When they have to do maintenance on it, you know, we're having to deal with street cuts that we have to maintain over the long haul. The garbage trucks are driving on our streets, so that was my pitch, to put them in the street fund. They originally were in the general fund, so that's where they've led, and they're a critical revenue source for a street fund. If we didn't have them, then we would have to supplement our street fund with general fund dollars. So coming out of the general fund.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the key thing for us is having a local 3-cent gas tax. We'll look for other ways through EV chargers to get some revenue to help, but yeah, I'm very fortunate to have one of the few cities in Oregon with a local gas tax where we're actually the people that are driving our roads, tourists, are helping pay to maintain. So
Yeah, and we used to be the first gas stations on the, after the pass,
yeah,
or the
Yeah.
last ones were bringing over.
yep. Yeah, the Chevron is the most heavily taxed gas station we have in town. The first one you see when you come in.
It's just great to see, like, you know, the lowest score is like a 5.
I was gonna say, I mean, usually this is the first time there wasn't a red, right? Am I remembering wrong?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, we've kind of worked our way out of the reds and now we're just gonna deal with our yellows. Adams Avenue, it's not looking great right now. It doesn't get a lot of wear and tear. There's no potholes per se, but it's got some pretty good cracking. It's got some utility cuts. And then if the Urban Renewal Agency decides to fund Adams Streetscape project, and that will basically rebuild Adams. We'll have a brand new street under that project. So that's why I'm not putting maintenance dollars to it right now. Otherwise, I would have a couple years ago. We're just kind of anticipating that project. Jackson, did you have anything to add?
I do not.
Anything else about the David maintenance plan? We need to take a vote on.
That would be great if you could, just recommending the 25-26 pavement maintenance plan to the city council and the budget committee.
Maintenance plan, budget committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
Any other business?
I just want to give a couple of quick updates on our projects. We have the east portal, we have almost all of the concrete work done. The site is basically graded, ready for asphalt. We got news today from the paving sub that they could potentially be in here towards the end of the month, early May, depending on weather and what happens with their schedule, but we were actually on their schedule for mid-May, so it could be a couple weeks earlier. Excited for that project. It's looking great out there. They got benches installed. They got all the forward lighting installed. Like I said, majority of the asphalt done. We're gonna have the restrooms repainted this spring when they're out of there. We'll have the street lighting. We got the RV dump station going in. We're getting all of the automated gear for the dump station. So we'll have a dump station like we do in Creekside Campground that's basically fully automated. And then we're also gonna have a water fill station about 50 feet away from it to where you could purchase bulk water, and that'll be automated as well. So swipe the credit card and we'll have to determine, how long we keep the solenoid open. But you'll be paying for 30 seconds water, a minute of water. And then we'll back that into a certain amount of gallons you get for X number of dollars. So we do get requests, not a lot, from people living off grid, camping off grid, to want to fill bulk water cans, tanks, and we really don't have a good setup way to do that and recoup the revenue that we need for that. So this will be a great opportunity to do that. So I think the RV dump station will be wildly popular. We are the first dump station as you come over the mountains. It'll take a lot of pressure off the Creekside Campground and that neighborhood over there, and just make it easier for the end user. You can jump off and dump and then go on their merry way. So it should be pretty slick.
It just feeds into our regular sewer.
Yeah, we hot tapped a service lateral before they paved 242 and put Avenue last summer. So it goes into that line.
Woo,
Yep,
big line, right?
big 12-inch line. Yeah. You don't generate a lot of flow from RV dump stations. It's very 20 gallons here, 20 gallons there. You can burn through that with somebody that ignores turning off the water with the long toothbrush and such, you know, so. Not too bad on that end of things.
Is there ever any risk of someone dumping something there that's not really supposed to be going in there?
You have that risk, you do. We'll have cameras. I don't know if we'd be able to.
Coop something.
Yeah. It's, the nice thing about that is there's gonna be enough people around, especially with a busy RV dump, that you're not gonna get like a porta potty truck or you know, somebody dumping bad gas or, you know, off-road diesel. Which we've had those happen to our sewer system, and we have to, you know, call a septic pumper to pump them out, haul it to Bender Redmond. But typically that stuff all floats and it ends up down at our pump station. We do our pump station rounds every morning. We smell as soon as we walk in there, you know, we got hit with something. But they're typically finding a cul-de-sac and probably in their industrial park, hop in a manhole lid and dump it. So doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened.
I guess, yeah, why would someone come and introduce their credit card and then
Exactly.
dump something?
Yeah. They'll find another way to, or another place to put it, yeah. So that's East Portal, Barkley, phase 1. They moved in some equipment today. They surveyed out all their saw cutting. They'll be saw cutting tomorrow and then aggressively jumping on that project. So that's going to be a quick in and out for those guys from the schedule they gave us. They're looking to have that paved out about the 3rd week in May. So basically 5-6 weeks. And then the next big one, West Side Pump Station. We finished the design. We got our DEQ approval. We have our Deschutes County approval. They won't release the permits until we give them the bid results, which will tell them what contractor's gonna be doing it. But our permits are ready to go for that. We're just about through the 20-day public notice with the tribe. So part of ODOT permitting is you now have to let the tribe review your projects as well. So we're just wrapping up that public noticing timeframe, and then we'll get the ODOT permit for the Cascade Crossing. And then we're ready to go. So we are looking to have that out to bid in mid-April. With bids coming back mid-May. And then bring it to city council and get those guys working on that. So the idea for construction timing is to have them focus on the pump station site this summer and fall, potentially get some pipe in the ground going up Pine Street, but to shut that down as soon as it starts getting busy in town. Get everything at least cold mixed back in place, let the summer tourist season happen. And then in the fall, they can jump across the highway and then start running up Jefferson here. So. Big project, but the majority of the public outreach needed won't happen until the fall when we're up in neighborhoods up here on Pine and Jefferson. Yeah, that's as soon as we have the west side done, we have the Road Street pump station about 75% design, the improvements there. So as soon as we have the west side done and we have diverted half the flow that's now coming to road, we can jump in and do the retrofit on the road. So that'll be a winter project. Hopefully 2026. Edgerton water line, we got everything over to the Forest Service so they can do their NEPA analysis on that. We've developed the pipe alignment all the way up to the new reservoir, developed the site where the reservoir is going to go, and gave them all the CAD files for that, and GIS files. We had to count every tree that we'd be removing. Provide a surveyed alignment so they can see if it's affecting any sensitive species, any RP that they know that's in the area. And they felt like they would have the sisters, the sisters NEPA folks are actually doing the work for us. We have to pay them, but it's not going through Bend or a third party. And they felt like they could get it done pretty quick, potentially this summer. So then we can get ready to go full design, get that project out the door. And then latency, we're just going through the RFP process now to get the design team on for that. So right now, through the summer, we're going to end up with, we'll just be running K lines out there like we've done in the past years. And so we get the design team on board, and that's probably going to be a 12 to 18 month design process because we'll have ODOT, DEQ, some different agencies involved with that project. So, other than that, we've turned on the irrigation. Go ahead.
Does it just include that parcel that's doesn't have a tree?
So it includes this area here. This area up front will be the wetlands area. And then this area down here, we have another, 60 acres here. This is where the ponds and the streams are going to be with the walking trails. And then we got a quarter pivot back here. We got a half pivot out here. And then a wheel line over here. Sorry, over here. Right across from John's house. So yeah, we're gonna design the whole thing so it's ready to go. So we got one permitting process with DEQ, and then we can phase it construction wise as we need it. So we turned on our effluent irrigation April 1st, start of our irrigation season. So we are now watering banks. We got our K lines going, and then our forest irrigation here as well. We had to put a new flow meter right here that actually goes on the line out to Lazy Z. We're having issues with their old flow meter. We got that in before we fired it up, and it's working great. So. Yeah, we're kind of in summer ops with our wastewater discharge. And I think that's it. We got an overlay project coming up, and then anything else, Jackson?
McKinney Butte safety improvements are complete. You'll see the third and final raised crossing. I have a map pulled up. Show you. So the third and final crossing is connecting a mid-block path here and path here, kind of in between the two right there.
And then we did additional. Yep.
Cross,
crossing right there.
yep.
You guys drive out there, think it's school, what do you think? Affecting cars or, yeah.
I mean, if anything, creating structure helps people know what to expect. When it's where it's fun.
Yeah,
Instead of anything could be happening anywhere.
there's a lot of vehicles out there. Yeah,
That's the interesting intersection right there.
we made it through, almost through the first year. I haven't heard of any accidents or anything, that I know of. But it is busy out there, we see continue to get backed up. Ways, a lot of pedestrian traffic. Coming out of McKenzie Meadows and Village of Cold Springs. A lot of kids, a lot of parents walking to school, which is great, it's what we want.
The school's doing a really good job of traffic control at the high school.
With their crossing guard. Yeah, that's key.
It can be very, it's needed.
There's a lot going on at that intersection, yeah. I agree, we put some cameras out there at the beginning of the year just to see how it worked, and it's like started counting trips, and it's like, wow, there's a lot coming and going in a very short time. And majority of them were coming from the east, which could have changed over the year once parents figured out it was quicker actually to go around 242 and then kind of in the back way. Elm Street. We're making progress on Elm Street, the whole thing is that.
I believe CEC should be getting in there soon for tree removal.
So this is the project, multi-use path from Tyee down to Village Green on the east side of Elm. We have the bridge under design right now. We had to go out and do the geotech work. So we hired a third party, Carlson Testing, to do that work for us. And they excavated just to see what the soil structure was for the bridge footings, and then gave that information to the bridge engineering group. And they're working on that engineering for that. And then got a partner, CEC. They have to bring in additional upsizing of conduits to this. They're actually going to hang a couple conduits off the bottom of the bridge. And then they're going in ahead and basically doing all of the tree removal that would be required for the path and initial clearing and grubbing to get their conduits in before we go in and start doing the path work. So we're getting closer. We'll see how long it takes to get the bridge engineering done and then approved. We've got to have it approved by Deschutes County. And then we can start getting it out to bid. Hopefully fall construction, maybe fall, winter, potentially.
That's what we've been looking at.
Yeah, putting a bridge over a wild scenic river is not the quickest or easiest. We had to go through land use, which took time, public noticing, all the fun hoops that we gotta jump through, but we're making progress.
Jackson, can you scroll down to just show where the end of the city limits are there? That's, is it the end of the housing up to Peterson Ridge, and then that becomes forest?
Yeah, so this line right here is city limits.
Keep panning down a little bit. We just finished design on well one. So wrapping that up, we're gonna be going to the county for permit review on that. That is the rehab of our oldest well, which includes a new well building. We've already done the pump work, new chlorination system, new electrical, new controls, a little bit of new piping, and we'll have that rehab. We'll have everything ready to go to bid. We probably won't go to bid until midsummer because we don't want to take that offline during the irrigation season, fire season as well. So we'll have that to go to bid for a fall winter construction. And well 3 as well, which is a backup generator. Engineering's finishing up the design on that as well. So we got quite a few moving parts, pieces. Just trying to keep everything up in the air. Yeah. Yeah, and then, I mean, the good thing is our development work it's gotten a lot slower. It's really slowed down a lot. Sunset Meadows is basically done as far as we're concerned. Woodlands, you know, they're doing phase 3 infrastructure right now, and that should tide them over for a while. It's going to create, you know, all these lots over here will be created. So, and then we just kicked off the master plan process for the Northwest Park last week. So we met with the consultant team on that, which is
NV5.
NV5, which was WH Pacific, I believe.
I'm not familiar with them, but that sounds right.
Pretty big company, I think, if not regional, nationwide, maybe.
Definitely regional.
Yeah, yep. The guy that is the project lead on it, he's out of the valley. Nice guy. They got a couple people that worked on our public outreach for the Sisters Vision. They're part of the project team, so we could have them involved. And yeah, certainly that out for the community to start wrapping their heads around, you know, what they want to go with that. Any questions? Any budget questions? We sent out rate increase notices to all of our utility accounts. Remember, we council passed the rate plan for water and sewer rates last year, which included 5 years of, depending on which fund, I think sewer was going up 4% a year and water was somewhere around 8 to 10%. So we're getting out in front of it.
Yeah.
And let people know that their bill is going up $3 or $4 for a single family residential. So, but
It's easier when it's that much at a time.
it is,
Just digest.
yeah, that's the whole strategy is to do it incrementally. Yeah.
Once they get used to annual increases, then it just becomes a more.
It does, and hopefully not. Hopefully it gets to a point where they're like, we need to watch how much water we're using, you know, because that overage amount is going up as well proportionally. So I think it was $1.20-ish somewhere in there per 100 cubic feet last year. And it's $1.46 this year. So the bigger water users are going to see a higher water bill. So that plays into our conservation planning as well.
That's easy. I mean, all these projects, floating them and keeping the, I mean, I realize you have a small team and then a lot of contractors to balance and, yeah. So,
Yeah, and then our seasonal operations, you know, going from winter to spring, so we're in spring cleanup now, we firing up parks. You know, see the street sweepers running around, you know, we got the campground open, they opened on Monday, so we got campers in there. That takes quite a bit of time to get that ready to go. Before we know it, we'll be angry at tourists trying to cross Cascade. Hopefully the roundabout works better. And yeah, we met with our engineer, our city engineer and our traffic engineer last week to scope a project on North Locust from the roundabout down to Black Butte. So this intersection down here, looking at this entire corridor here, including some safety improvements at this intersection right here. We're thinking, or the engineers are thinking of getting rid of the drop lane so we can make this crossing distance shorter for pedestrians. Curb ramp improvements at all four corners for ADA improvements. And a new crossing down here. What that would look like, would it have RFBs, the flashing beacons, or not, so to be determined, and potentially we have a grant opportunity, a small city allotment grant for towns under 5,000 people. It's an ODOT grant program. It's great. We used it quite a few times in the past. And it's $250,000 with no local match. And it's state funds, not federal funds, all paid with gas tax revenue. So we're looking at, yeah, just safety improvements, looking at the signage, you know, do we want to driver feedback sign in here? How do we keep speeds down? Just, yeah, try to start addressing this alternate route through kind of a residential feeling neighborhood. You know, we got a couple land use applications. We got a partition here that is looking to have 2 duplexes on it. This is right across from City Hall. And then there's a triplex land use application right here. So we're starting to see some redevelopment down through here. So trying to keep, yeah, that corridor as safe as possible and as pedestrian friendly as possible, but also friendly to what it's designed for, which is moving traffic. But we really don't have a good pedestrian connection. Up here for this neighborhood that wants to access Clemens Park or the post office, you see a natural trail through this field here.
You see people crossing there.
So they're using it, yeah, they're using it, we need to do something there, so, yeah.
In the process.
Yeah. So yeah, we scoped it last week, and engineers will get us the recommendations, and we'll Jackson will finalize the grant application at the end of the month and get it into ODOT and keep our fingers crossed. Be a great use of funds for that. Anything else?
No, I was going through minutes from last meeting to see if any of our projects had updates, but I think we covered them all.
We have, I don't know if we told you about the idea for a wildfire resiliency / water conservation demonstration project for City Hall. So we had our wildfire consultant come in, give us recommendations for things we could do around City Hall, which included removing that large pine tree out there, which we did. Trimming up some trees in the back, removing some trees that were too close to the building. And then getting rid of bark mulch up against the building, just doing all those things. We applied for and got a grant. Actually, Jackson applied for it to take care of majority of the wildfire work.
Yeah, so that will fund the tree removal as well as 5 feet of gravel around the building.
And then we're gonna coordinate that with a water conservation project, which is essentially removing all the turf in the back, re-landscaping it. Try to make an example of, fire approved fire resistant plantings in your landscape, drought tolerant plantings, and eventually have some educational little pathways back there with some educational signage where we could use it as a tool for the community to see what is available out there to kind of hit those livable sisters goals that we're all gonna have to deal with. So, cool project. We're just getting costs right now on from a landscape architect that we procured to do that work. And we'll take that to the budget committee.
We were able to secure a cross section of the large ponderosa that was removed to use as an educational tool during our Arbor Day, so the kids can count tree rings, and gonna hopefully have that on display for Arbor Day. After it dries out after a year, we'll give it a nice coating, and hopefully we can have that out at multiple Arbor Days.
What do they call it?
A tree cookie, which I had never heard before.
Well, yeah, we'll find a cool way to display it.
Mhm.
And then you want to give an Arbor Day pitch.
Yeah, so we do have the Arbor Day celebration coming up Friday, the 25th. It's going to start at Creekside Park, and then it will move to the area here. This isn't quite up to date, but there's the large path going through here. And in a section currently just dirt right there where we're going to have the tree planting take place. Keep some separation from the road and the kids, safety first, keeping that in mind. And that is where we're going to be planting, I believe, 35 ponderosas and 6 larches.
We have started the landscape design on the roundabout as well. So we got a consultant on board. They've already come up with a preliminary design. So we'll be able to bring you a concept design next week. Yes, check out. Yeah. And then we're going to be working with all the adjacent landowners. We've already started working with the Oliver Lemons folks that own these 2 parcels here. So work with them on the conceptual design, mostly around this Arbor Day planning, making sure that we're getting trees that they were okay with, because this is going to be, depending on if they develop this or not, their front door, essentially. So where to plant the trees, what species of plants, density. They wanted more aspen trees in that area, so we'll end up with a cool grove of aspens in that area.
I didn't know there's 2 different parcels there.
There are, it's kind of weird, yeah, they own both of them. Very nice folks, it's Rudy's daughter, Rudy started before market forever ago. Yeah, they're great to work with, so we'll be working with them, we'll be working with the gas station, High Canaan School District, and we've already started working with Jen over at Citrus Park and Rec to match our design with their design. So it's cohesive and we're not planting stuff, blocking the art on the fence, and there's just a lot of things to consider. Exciting, though, super exciting what they got going on over here. It's gonna be really cool.
And you folks may have received the Arbor Day flyer in your city emails. If you didn't, happy to send that back out to you folks. You're all welcome to. Okay.
We ran a little bit over.
Chair for leadership.
You did great. We could just talk public works stuff forever, so.
Seems like you guys are bipolar, not really doing much with it. There's so much going on.
We, anything helps. We're throwing stuff back and forth all the time, and we still haven't really, I haven't heard stop yet. Stop, no more. But we're probably getting close. We got Jackson's replacement posted. So that's out on the streets. We are going for an additional seasonal. So we'll have 2 seasonals hopefully. Just for getting enough, especially with the new roundabouts, enough landscaping that we need some more help on that. So try to take advantage of that seasonal position, and then what we hope for out of that, and it's worked great in the past, is finding a full-time person that fits with the crew and wants to be here, wants to work for their community, and we can hire them full-time out of that seasonal position. So we know we're going to need another full-time person when we build Adams Avenue. So that's another piece of infrastructure that we're going to have to maintain. There's going to be a lot to it. And I don't want to build this stuff without maintaining it. We got East Portal to maintain that now. So just more and more and more. And we did get a price for the dog park over there. I did a quick layout. In this area, about 1/3 of an acre, right in here. So I got a price for the fencing and the entryway. We set up conduits across the RV dump road so we can get water over there, power if we need it. So yeah, I think we're ready to go to that. We'll recommend that to the budget committee as well. So we will add a list of things that they kind of their wish list, which included some split rail fencing, path connection, and then some improvements for the labyrinth. See what Jordan wants to do with it. So yeah, I think that's it.
Well, I appreciate that you know, are thinking that you gotta keep it up. And it's much better to pay along the way than to redo things, and it's a much better experience also for everybody involved.
Yeah, we try to come up with creative ways to fund the long-term maintenance. We're looking at the RV dump to be able to provide the maintenance required by that facility, so. Try to see those
How's your
options.
position funded? Well, let me tell you.
Sisters Finance. Yeah.
Any board member comments? With that,
Thank you.
let's adjourn.
Yeah.